All right, hi everyone. Welcome to today's training session. My name is Jamie Bruin and I'm part of the support team here at SuiteFiles. Today's training session is going to be going through the Xero Practice Manager integration with SuiteFiles. We're going to cover how to make good use of that integration, as well as a Chrome extension which adds a whole bunch of extra functionality and really useful features for using XPM with SuiteFiles. Just a bit of information before we get into the content. First of all, I'm recording this training session. The recording will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel called SuiteFiles. We also have previous recordings of webinars which you can view there as well. If anyone has any questions at all throughout the webinar, please feel free to fire them through the Q&A section or chat. I keep the Q&A section open, so I'm always keeping an eye on that. But please, if anyone has any questions at any time, please always feel free to let me know. All right, so let's get into the content. So the first thing that we actually need before we can really start using the integration and all of these kind of extra features that I'm going to show you is we need to have the Chrome extension installed. So to install our Chrome extension, you simply go to the top right of your SuiteFiles site, you click on your username, and you select the Download SuiteFiles option here. This will open up the SuiteFiles Download Center. Here you simply click the Download button underneath the Chrome extension. Click the Download button here. This will take you to the Chrome Web Store. Here you simply click the Add to Chrome button and the Add Extension button here. And once that's successfully added into the browser, you'll get this little pop-up that will just tell you that SuiteFiles has been added into Chrome. And what you can now do is actually click on the SuiteFiles icon that will appear at the top right of your browser. This is where the Chrome extensions are listed. You simply click on that SuiteFiles icon like so. And, well, that's interesting. When you click on it, this here is the window that should come up. And what you can do here is you can enter in your SuiteFiles site URL. So for me, this is going to be demosuite.sharepoint.com. For you, it will be your company name in place of DemoSuite. If you have a /sites part of your site URL, then you need to include the /sites/ whatever's after that. It's normally like this. If you just have .com, then don't worry about that sites part at all. The username is simply your Office 365 email address. So we're going to go jamie@demosuite.microsoft.com. The password is simply your Office 365 password. And then you can click the login button. This will log you into the Chrome extension. Now, I'm just going to do that now. While it's going through the logging in process here, you don't want to click out of it. If you click away from it, or you click onto another tab, it will actually interrupt the login process. So wait until it's logged in and you see a window like this, where it tells you which email address you're logged in with and what site you're actually logged into. Now, if you happen to be using two-factor authentication for Office 365, or you're using a single sign-on solution like Practice Protect, then you actually need to use this advanced login option at the bottom. If you simply click this advanced login option, it will take you to a slightly different login process. So this is where it's going to take you to auth.thefullsuite.com. What you need to do here is enter your SuiteFiles site URL. So, and then click the Login to SuiteFiles button. And you need to simply click Trust It here. And once you do that, it's going to take you to a page where at the end of the URL will be a token, but it will also come up with a notification that will just say, do you want to use this login for the Chrome extension? You simply click yes, and that will sign you into the Chrome extension. Sorry, I haven't taken you fully through that process. There's a particular reason for that. There is a token that's created that's used to log you in. I'm not going to display that token in the webinar, sorry. It's a really easy process. It's literally just kind of follow the prompts, really. If you have trouble with the normal login window here as well, then just try using the advanced login. The advanced login goes through a kind of official Office 365 login page, which can cater to all the kind of various methods of authentication through Office 365. Log in here again. Cool. Cool. All right, so we're logged in. We're going to close that window. So now we can start making use of the functionality between XPM and SuiteFiles. The first thing that we'll go through is when you create a new client in XPM. We'll go into our Clients tab here. And oops. So let's say we're going to create a new client in the Zero Practice Manager. Go new client. And we're going to provide a client name. Let's call this client Sharp Accountants Wellington. Hope that makes it unique. Now, what you'll actually notice is if you type in a client name, like, for example, this one should be one. No. If you type in a client folder name that actually already exists in SuiteFiles, it's going to tell you this. It's going to come up with this little notification with the SuiteFiles icon. It's going to say the client folder already exists in SuiteFiles. Now, this doesn't mean you can't create that client in XPM. It's simply informing you that you already actually have a folder for that client in your SuiteFiles site. Let's say we don't already have a client folder for that client in our SuiteFiles site. So accountants, like this one. When we click the Save button to create that client in XPM, we're going to get a prompt from the Chrome extension. What it's going to do is it's going to ask us if we would like to have a folder for this client created in our SuiteFiles site. Now I'm going to go into the SuiteFiles site that I'm currently logged into with the Chrome extension, and I'm just going to show you. I'll type Sharp here. We don't have a client folder with Sharp Accountants Wellington as the name. So what we can do, if we'd like to just create an empty client folder, we could simply click the Create button now. If we'd like to create this new client folder in SuiteFiles using a folder template, we can click on the drop-down. We can select the client folder template we'd like to use. Let's use company folders. Then when we click the Create button, the Chrome extension is going to go ahead, create that client folder for us in our SuiteFiles site. And you'll actually notice that a link appears here. This link is to that client folder in SuiteFiles. First of all, I'll just kind of show you here that in fact the new folder has been created. So if we just reload that, you can see that that new client folder now exists, and it has a folder structure created under it because it used a folder template to do that. So really useful. Now this link in XPM, if we click on it, it's going to take us directly to that client folder in our SuiteFiles site. So it's really useful. The link, if you have created client folders in SuiteFiles separately to creating the client in XPM, in other words, if you haven't used the Chrome extensions prompt to have that folder created for the client, then it will basically link it by the name being a match. So if you just created the folder separately in your SuiteFiles site here and you create it with the same name, you'd still get this link to the client folder. Now, there are a few little kind of things around that link. One of the first things is there are some special character replacements. So if we actually went in and went to create a client that had an ampersand in the name in XPM, and we'll also put a dot or two in there. So let's say we're calling this James and John dot LTD. I think the dot's probably on the end, but I'm just going to put it there as the example. The first thing is that when it actually looks to link to this client folder between XPM and SuiteFiles, it's actually going to look in SuiteFiles for the folder name to have an and, the word and in place of the ampersand. So when we create this, we can actually use the Chrome extension prompts to take care of that replacement for us. But if you're not using the Chrome extension prompt to create the client folder in SuiteFiles, it is important to be aware of this. So you can see kind of in the background here, in XPM, the client name has an ampersand, and the SuiteFiles folder name that it wants to create is going to actually use the word and. We can also see there is a dot in front of the LTD part, and for the client folder in SuiteFiles, it's actually going to use an underscore. So we could go ahead and create this, like so. And you can see it's actually linking now, and it has an and in the folder name in SuiteFiles instead of an ampersand, and it has an underscore instead of a dot here. So these are the most common ones we see. There are a couple of other things, I think apostrophes, and I think that might be it. There's very few other special characters that are replaced with underscores. It's really mainly about the ampersand in the word and, so just be aware of that. If we rename this client now within XPM, let's say we want to rename this, so it's actually called James and John without the LTD part. And we click the save button to save that new name in XPM. Our Chrome extension will actually detect that you have changed the name of that folder. And as you can see here, it's asking us if we'd like to rename that folder in SuiteFiles to the new name that we just updated in XPM. We can click yes to that, and we'll see that the new link has appeared with the new client name from XPM. So it's really useful to use that. It does kind of shortcut things a little bit, but aside from just kind of creating shortcuts, the main thing about these prompts from the Chrome extension is that it keeps things consistent. It's all about consistency. If you're manually typing in the name, so if in SuiteFiles, let's first of all get rid of the current folder we have here. Let's just delete that. Reload this just so you can see there's definitely no link. So you can see there's no link to the client folder because I have just deleted that folder in SuiteFiles. And when you actually don't have any match to that name in SuiteFiles, it's going to tell you that, but it's also going to give you an option to create the folder in SuiteFiles. If you'd like to do that, you can click create. Now you'll actually see this first part. It says similar detected clients. This is basically going ahead and looking in your SuiteFiles site, and it's looking for any folder names that are similar, where we think it could possibly be the correct folder that you want to use, and that way you won't be creating a duplicate folder. It's interesting, it says James and John here, but that folder's just been deleted, so I may have actually just done that a little too quickly. Yeah, probably jumped the gun on that one a little bit. It should just be the second one that's similar now. Now, actually, yeah, that's strange. Anyway, if you do want to go ahead and create a new client folder, you can simply use the prompt here. You can still select your folder template and click the create button, and it will go ahead and create that client's folder in SuiteFiles for you. So you can do it that way. I'm going to leave it not linking for now, and I'm going to manually create the client folder in SuiteFiles, but I'm going to call this James and John, like this. I'm going to use a folder template. Oops, wrong one. Cool. So you can see we've got a new client folder in our SuiteFiles site with that folder structure. Now, if I go into XPM, if I just refresh this page, you'll see that it's not actually linking. reason why it's not linking is it doesn't have the exact same name. It doesn't have the correct formatting. We have a plus symbol in place of the word and. Now, we come across this quite often, particularly if people have been storing things locally on servers before they come onto SuiteFiles. We'll see a lot of times where there are typos, so things like doubled up letters, doubled up spaces, or things like inconsistent use of plus symbols, ampersands, the word and, that kind of thing. So because of that, it's best to do it through the Chrome extension because it really does just take care of that and you don't have to worry about any kind of typos or anything causing the clients to mismatch between SuiteFiles and XPM. The other thing you can do with the Chrome extension here for the client is if you click on the Options button and archive the client in XPM, the Chrome extension will also provide you a prompt that will ask you if you'd like to have that folder. Sorry, of course, I didn't have the client linked to anything in SuiteFiles. Let me just restore that and just quickly create that client folder like so. If I archive this client in XPM, because it has a client folder that it's linked to, it's going to ask us if we'd also like to archive that folder in our SuiteFiles site, which I'm going to say yes to. Again, it just keeps things consistent, keeps them in the same state between XPM and SuiteFiles. Next thing is if we create a job or a quote. So let's just quickly restore this. And unarchive, yes. So if we want to create a new job or a new quote in XPM, let's provide a name for our job. Let's call it Suite Job. Oops. Once we create this new job, we will receive a prompt from the Chrome extension. And what that's doing is it's asking us if we'd like to have a subfolder for that particular job created within our client folder in our SuiteFiles site. Now, if you read this message on the screen here, you'll see that it's asking if we'd like to create a folder with the name of the job in XPM within our client folder / jobs folder. So what it will actually do is if you don't currently have a jobs folder underneath that client folder, it will create a folder just called jobs or just called quotes. And then underneath that is where it will create the specific subfolder for that job. And just select job folder template and click create. And so now if I go to James and John, like so, I now have a jobs folder here. And I now have a specific subfolder for that particular job in XPM. It's the exact same name as the job in XPM. And that's our rather useful job folder template there. Cool. Quotes works exactly the same. It's the exact same process. When you create a new quote, it gives you a rather identical prompt, and it will create a quotes folder, then the specific subfolder for that quote. Cool. Now, does anyone have any questions about any of that? Particularly about the linking. The linking, there is a few kind of things just in terms of knowing how it's formatted, how it maps together, because we get a significant amount of questions about the linking and how it does it and how it works and why it's not linking particular clients. So if anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to let me know. I'll try and think of some of the common questions we get about it to try and ensure that you're kind of aware of everything with it. So I guess when people contact us and tell us that a client's not linking, one of the first things we do is we check that the name is actually the same. Quite often we'll get a name in XPM that will read as James John Wilkinson, and then the client folder in SuiteFiles is just called James Wilkinson. If that's the case, they're not going to match. They do have to be an exact match in terms of the name and the formatting for the clients to link together. The other thing is that I've seen client names that have a space in front of them or at the end of them in XPM, which causes the client to not map up together, to not link. It's probably not as common as there just simply being a bit of a different name or a naming format, but it does happen. Yeah, actually, that's probably all I can think of the top of my head. Oh, I guess the other thing actually is groups. If you're using group structures in XPM and you want to also use a group structure in SuiteFiles, what you'll need to do is actually, first of all, access the Chrome extension options. So to access the Chrome extensions options, you simply right-click on the SuiteFiles extension icon at the top right of the browser here. You select Options, and whoa, sorry, that's way bigger than it should be. Here what you do is you simply toggle on the option for client grouping prompts. As you can see here, you can see that it's a beta testing feature. We're just going to toggle that on. Because it's a beta testing feature, we can't guarantee that it will be perfect, but if you have any feedback about it, come across any issues with it, we definitely want to know. If you want to turn off any of the prompts for anything, you can do this from here. So for example, if you don't want those client creation or renaming prompts, you can simply turn that off like so. If you don't want to get a prompt for archiving the client in SuiteFiles, you can turn that off. If you don't want any prompts for creating job and quote folders, you can simply turn that off as well. I'm just going to actually leave those all on. Once we close that page, it just automatically saves those settings. Cool, so let's say we want to have this in a group called Home Trust Group in XPM. We'll go to Add to Group. We'll tick the box for that group, click Add. And I need to reload this page, sorry, because I just changed that setting. Let me just quickly do that again. So let's add this client to the Home Trust Group. Click the Add button. As you can see, it's going to ask us if we'd actually like to have that client folder in SuiteFiles moved to be in a group folder structure. So currently it's located as our individual client here is located directly underneath the clients folder in our SuiteFiles site. But if I choose to move it to the group, it's going to be under the clients folder, but then under the group folder underneath that. So it's going to be clients/group/individual client or individual entity. I'm going to click yes to this. And we'll see that that link will update like so. And if we open up the folder in SuiteFiles now, we'll see it's no longer directly under the clients folder. It's now under the Home Trust Group folder that is located under the clients folder. So that's what that will do for you. If you don't actually have a client folder and you already have the group created in XPM, so for example, let's go ahead and James and John, just delete this. We reload this. Oops, take a couple of seconds here. Cool. So the first thing that it will do when you have a client that's already in a group in XPM is it will look to see if there's a client folder matching that client name, and it will also look to see if there is a client within a group folder for the group that you've added that client to in XPM. Now, if there's no client found for that client, you can click Create in SuiteFiles button. And what this will do is it will tell you it's going to create that new client folder underneath the group folder. So it's going to create that client folder underneath the group folder in your SuiteFiles site. So that's how it works with groups. And that's really all of the folder creation and folder renaming and archive prompts from the Chrome extension. The next stuff is really around exporting some reports. So if anyone has any questions at all about anything that we've covered so far, please feel free to let me know through the Q&A section now. Otherwise, we'll move on to having a look at exporting some work papers and reports. Okay, cool. No questions, so we'll move on to having a look at exporting some reports. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the reports in XPM. Select the reports tab. I'm going to go into all reports here. Let's look at a job report. Let's click print. When we go to print a report from XPM, we actually get an option at the left-hand side here, as you can see, to export this report as a PDF file into our SuiteFiles site. So if I click on this option, it provides a little window here which allows us to choose a location to export the report to within our SuiteFiles site. I'm going to go into my clients folder, and then I want to find a client folder called Sharp Accounting. So as it's far down the list, scrolling down here, it's not going to be the most efficient way to locate that client folder. So I can actually use the filter at the top left of the screen here to simply type in Sharp. And without needing to press the enter key even, I immediately start getting subfolders show up that start with what I've typed in there. So it's not quite a search, it is what begins with those letters. Cool. I'm going to select that client folder. I'm going to select a subfolder, 2019. And let's say the 2019 subfolder I'm currently located in is where we'd like to save this PDF. We're going to now click the select folder button. And this has saved our file. Now, if I actually go into that client folder, whoops, wrong button, Sharp Accountants Wellington 2019, we can see that job report has just been uploaded. So that's exported from XPM into our SuiteFiles site. Now, the other thing you can do is you can export work papers from Xero work papers into your SuiteFiles site. So if we actually go into Xero work papers here, we're going to go into a work paper pack. Now we can see we've got a number of work papers here. We want to export these work papers. We have two options to export those into our SuiteFiles site. So the first one is to export them as a PDF file, and the second option is to export them as a zip file. The PDF option, what they will actually do is it will export all of those PDF files combined into one giant client, one big, it's going to take each of these work papers and save them all as one big PDF file. For the zip option, is going to take each work paper and save each work paper as its own PDF file within a zip. So I'll show you by actually doing this what that looks like. So let's choose the export PDF to SuiteFiles option. We get that same location, choose it as before. So we simply select the folder that we'd like to save to. I'm going to do a little filter here for Sharp Accountants Wellington. And I'm going to select the 2019 folder and click select folder. Now this might take a few seconds as it is a lot more content to export. Cool, that's been done. So we can see we've now got a work papers pack saved as a PDF file within our SuiteFiles site. If I open this up, we'll see we've got multiple work papers within it, as you can see. So that's the export as PDF option. The other option is for exporting it as a zip file. So we'll have a look at what that looks like. And select my client's folder. Going to Sharp Accountants, Wellington, 2019. Click Select Folder. Cool. Now, as you can see, I have a zip file that's just been uploaded. I open up that zip file. When you click on a zip file in the browser, by the way, it's only going to show you a preview of that zip file. It's not going to actually download or allow you to access the contents here. But as we can see, we've got 3 PDF files saved here, which I wonder if that's... I have a feeling there should be more than 3. Might be wrong. But what it's supposed to do, that's probably right, and I just have forgotten quite how work papers work. But what it will do is save multiple PDF files into a zip file. So whichever one works best for you, I guess. They both do very similar things. Obviously, a zip file is going to be slightly smaller as it is compressed. The other thing is if you want to print things like zero tax returns, or if you want to print out any kind of report or return or work paper or something, and you don't have the option specifically as a button to export that as a PDF into your SuiteFiles site, as long as you can print it as a PDF, there's another way that you can actually export it into SuiteFiles by using a Chrome extension. So if we go to just export this as a PDF normally, we open up that PDF to print. What we can actually do is we can change the printer to be SuiteFiles. So if we go ahead and click on the printer icon here, it's going to go into the printing window. We can now change that printer to Suite Print. And now if we click the print button, what it's going to do, instead of printing anywhere, it's actually going to just give us an option to save somewhere in our SuiteFiles site. So it's that location chooser from before. We simply select the folder path we'd like to save to. It's not the filter. The filter is on the right-hand side for this. Cool, this is the folder path I'd like to save it into the 2019 subfolder here. Now the other thing that you need to do when you're using this option, but you're printing it to SuiteFiles, is you need to provide a file name for that file to be exported as. So I'm going to call this one job report, like so, and click the Save File button. If I now go into my SuiteFiles site, as you can see, give it a very generic name. This one here, 3:39 PM New Zealand time. I have exported that file as a PDF into my SuiteFiles site. So because you can use SuiteFiles as a printer like that, that means you can do it from anywhere where you can print a file from the browser. If you just do a Control and P anywhere on the page in the browser, like if we wanted to print the SuiteFiles file list like this, we can select SuiteFiles as a printer, and we can actually print this or export this as a PDF into SuiteFiles site. So again, So obviously that's not necessarily something I want to save as a PDF. It's more like a screenshot really by the looks of it. But just an example of the fact that you can print anything from the browser into your SuiteFiles site if you wish to. There are alternative ways to doing this, like for example, if you downloaded the file, you could simply drag it into the browser, like so. Like so, we can just drag and drop it from our downloads. The other way you could export things from the browser into your SuiteFiles site is by using the SuiteFiles Drive app and a save as kind of option. So for example, if we go into that PDF file, go to print, and there should be a save as PDF option. Yep, we click the save button. It's going to allow us to save this into our SuiteFiles site by selecting the SuiteFiles drive. Probably this drive makes more sense here. And we can go ahead and actually select where we want to save to through the SuiteDrive app as well. So there's multiple ways you can do that. The Chrome extension probably provides the most convenient way. If you find it easier and quicker to find folders within the SuiteFiles web app, like in here, then probably just downloading the file and dragging and dropping it into your SuiteFiles site is going to be the easiest way for you. Really just whatever works best for you is going to be the best option for that. Cool. All right. Now that's it for the Chrome extension features. If anyone has any questions at all about any of that, please feel free to let me know through the Q&A section now. As mentioned earlier, I will also be recording this webinar, and towards the end of the week, I'll upload the recordings to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to view those on the SuiteFiles YouTube channel. It's just called SuiteFiles, and we also have previous recordings there if anyone would like to refer to those. The other thing is that our help center, suitehelp.suitefiles.com, also has content to help you with the XPM integration, for example. This is more around templates than anything, but if we actually go into the browser, installing the Chrome extension has a features list, and you can click on any of these links here to see exactly how that feature works and how that can be used. If anyone has any questions about anything after the webinar or needs a hand with anything, this email address here is the best way to contact us for any help with anything. And yeah. All right, cool. Thanks for attending today's training session, everyone. I hope you've all learned a lot from it. Hopefully all of the XPM integration and making use of the Chrome extension all makes sense. As mentioned, please, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just flick them through to us, that support email address. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for your attendance, everyone, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days. Thank you. See ya.